I hope y'all are having a blessed day. It is a stunningly beautiful day here on the mountain. It was bright blue skies, not a cloud in the sky, and the sun was bright and shiny. Got into the low 40s today. We're supposed to drop into the teens tonight, and tomorrow's supposed to be bitter cold. And I think Sanjay said that by Monday it will be warm and lovely again, and spring will be here to stay. So I am so looking forward to that. We are here today with our next little project, and that is going to be another 1930s Posies block. And here it is. I think it's so cute, trying to go the right way. Here is the photograph. This is my original design, so please don't steal it and don't sell it. I just wanted to do a fanciful flower in a pot, kind of like an echinacea, but not quite. An alien version. So there are 7 pieces to this pattern. And it will be available in the show notes below for everybody to grab. And there are slight differences in the patterns, and I'll show that to you easier when I turn the camera around. But this is a very quick, very easy, very beginner friendly, fusible raw edge applique. You slap some fusible on the back of this puppy and you iron it down. And if that's all you want to do, then you're done. I did try several methods of stitching around, and I tried a blanket stitch and I didn't like it. Actually, the one I liked best was a triple black stitch, and I think it gives it a nice cartoony look, which is kind of what I was going for. And check out the center of that fabric. Is that not awesome? So let's get the camera turned around and we'll get started. I have myself 2 pieces of fusible web, and I'm going to trace the pieces on. And I did want to show you that there are slight differences between this piece and this piece. These pieces have a slightly less acute curve here, and these have slightly more acute. Don't know if that's the right math term or not. Me and math don't get along. But anyway, the one with the slightly less acute curve here is the one that goes next to the center petal. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, and 3. And we'll get into that. It doesn't much matter. If it doesn't fit right, then you just turn it around, you just move it over and do the next one. So we have our pot, and this is not difficult at all, easy peasy. I am just going to trace the pieces onto my fusible web, and then I'm going to go over to the ironing board and I'm going to iron them onto the fabrics that I've chosen. And I am not being hypersensitive to the waste because this fusible web is probably 15-20 years old, and I don't really, it's time that it got used. And you can make these petals your own. I didn't follow the line there. That's perfectly okay. If you don't like the shape of the patterns, you can draw the petals, you can draw your own. I am going to go iron this onto the fabric. You're going to use your instructions for your fusible to find out how long you're supposed to iron it down. And then in my previous posy pattern that I posted, wow, that's a lot of P's. Peter Piper picked a pickle, pickle, pick a pick a pick a papa. On my hydrangea block, I showed you, I just had a brain fart.
What happened last night? I went to sleep.
You're going to follow your fusible's instructions on how long to iron it down for. I am back from the iron, and I have all my pieces. Look at that. That's an epic pot, and that'll be the flower center. And these are all of my petals. And this is my background. And on the background, you can see that I have ironed a crease down the middle in both directions. So I have an idea of where I want these to end up. Okay, we're going to cut all of these pieces out. And I think you get the idea on how to cut pieces out. I'm just cutting on the line. We don't need no stinking seam allowance because it's being fused down. Some of this fabric has a date on the selvage from like 1996, 1997. Gee, she's old, probably older than some of you watching. It's about as old as that fusible, I think. No, actually, I think the fusible's from around 2003, 2004. I find the easiest way to remove the backing paper off of your fusible is to use a straight pin and just don't really dig in, but just score the paper with a straight pin, and that gives you a little bit of a cut there, and then you can just peel off the backing paper very easily. Okay, and that's ready to be fused down. So we would take our backing fabric. I am going to place this. You don't want things any closer than 1/2 inch from your edge, because you're going to have 1/4 inch taken up in seam allowance, and you'd like at least 1/4 inch floating around in the front. And you're just going to lay this out to what your eye says works. There's no exact, you just put it where your eye says okay. And this is the first petal, and you can adjust the height and adjust the placement. I'm cutting out the flower center now so I can get an idea, because that's the highest point in this. So you don't want that more than 1/2 inch to the edge, and everything will get hidden underneath this. So once you're happy, you can leave this first petal here and start with the others. And again, if you look at this petal compared to this petal, you can see that this has a more acute angle curve. So this would be your next piece. Again, just drag the straight pin over the paper and it will peel right off for you. I'm just going to lay it there for the time being. You can tilt it a little bit if you like. You can make it not perfect. You can make it tilt towards the imaginary sun. And you really don't have to worry about what's going on up here, because that is going to cover it. So there is our cute little posy. I'm going to go iron this down and I will be right back. Here is our fun little block, and I have a piece of interfacing cut out. If you're going to do stitching around it by machine, you may want to use interfacing so that it doesn't pucker. If you're doing hand stitching, you won't need it. Maybe you'll put this in a hoop, I'm not sure. But I think it's adorable, and I do think that it would be improved with that little black outline. I have a triple stitch. It is stitch number 6 on my Bernina 770, and it is a triple straight stitch, and I have some black thread in there. And we can just start anywhere we like, and hopefully you can see good there. One thing you have to be aware of if you're using a decorative stitch is you need to make sure you know where it's going to stop and where the best place is to pivot your work. I'm approaching a corner here, and this goes back, forward, back, forward. So you want to make sure that you can stop at a good place and then pivot the work. Otherwise, it'll get kind of crazy on you, and you may accidentally run off the side of the fabric. Okay, I think that makes it stand out real nice. So we will continue on our merry way here. Oh, I just had a fun thought. You could use mini rickrack, the real thin stuff, to sew down all the edges. Wouldn't that be fun? I think that would look so sweet. I don't think I have any of that, but boy, oh boy, I think that would really make it stand out. I think it's so cute. Let me move it over here so you can get a better look at it. Isn't that sweet? So see how quick and easy that was? And it's great for beginners. And like I said, you can do hand stitching around here. You don't have to do any stitching at all if you don't want to. You could stitch in further, more like 1/4 of an inch. That way when the blanket gets washed, the edges will get fuzzy. You could do the rickrack along here. You could do any number of things. You could use yarn, all sorts. You can go to the ends of the earth with this. You could put little beads in the center of these flowers. You could do anything you'd like with it. You could do French knots in here. I just think that is just so fun. So there you have it, YouTube. Our very next 1930s Posies block. I don't have a name for this one. I guess you could call it Echinacea if you like. And I just think it's absolutely adorable. Here's 2 of them. There you go. So I do hope you enjoyed this. I had lots of fun designing it, and I had lots of fun sewing it with you. And you can see the previous posies that are on there. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope you try it. I hope you make a whole quilt filled with these posies. It's just such a fun series. I actually went over to my studio today and I robbed my vault. Where is it? There's a grocery bag over there full of all of my 1930s fabric. I have no more left. Everything I have is here now. I want to thank you all for all the wonderful feedback and all the views and all the love that I got on my He Is Risen collaboration piece with Brenda. It was a fun project, and I'm so looking forward to quilting it on the show with her, and that will be coming up very soon. The part 2 of this will be coming out Friday the 24th, and that's March 24th, 2023 at 6 p.m. And this is coming out on Monday the 20th at 6 p.m. And I have another one coming. It's also going to be a raw edge applique, and it's going to be a lotus. It's going to be a stylized lotus blossom or a lotus sitting on a green leaf. I did have feedback and people wanted to know where the leaves were. And yes, all flowers should have leaves, but I was trying to make these blocks as simple as possible so that everyone, even beginners, would not be afraid to try these. So I didn't include any leaves. You can, of course, add as many leaves as you want, and you can embellish these to your heart's content. You can make them as fancy as you like. You can make them as simple as you like. You don't, like I said, you don't even have to sew around these petals. You can just go with it. And if it's just going to be a car quilt or something for the baby to play with in the yard, or on a picnic or on the floor, it doesn't have to be a family heirloom. It can just be something quick that you sew together and that you put down on the floor or on the grass for the baby to play on. So on that note, I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank you all so very much for watching. I want to thank you for subscribing. And I would like to ask that you kindly do subscribe. 72% of my viewers are not subscribed to my channel, and that breaks my heart. Those of you who are subscribed, I love you all. You're so wonderful. Your comments lift my spirits and make my day. I just love each and every one of you. So if you wouldn't mind kindly clicking on the subscribe button down there and then clicking on the bell to get all notifications, that way you won't miss my next video. And I hope you all have a very, very blessed week, and that God shines His light and His love on you always. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you back here at 70 Acre Studio real soon. Take care of yourselves. Have a blessed day, and God bless all of you.
Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy.